I was always going to love you, even before I knew your name, before our paths crossed in the shape of a glance, before the sky turned the same shade as your eyes. Even when I was just a child, chasing dandelions in fields of forgotten summers, I was chasing you, not your face, not your voice, but the idea of you, the warmth that waited somewhere ahead of me. I was always going to love you. When the world turned gray, when the nights grew long and the silences louder, when the moon hung crooked and the stars forgot how to shine, even then, I would have searched through galaxies of grief to find you, because your name was written in the soft folds of my soul, before I ever whispered it aloud. I didn't have to learn you. I remembered you, like something from a dream I was born with, like a language etched in my marrow, unspoken but understood. You were the poem I hadn't yet read, the story already written on my skin. Every heartbeat carried your echo, every sigh, a longing that had your shape. And when we met, it wasn't fireworks or thunderclaps. It was recognition, like the sea recognizing the shore, like the sun knowing exactly where to rise. I didn't fall. I remembered. I was always going to love you, even in the lives where we never met. Even if I passed you in crowded trains, or sat beside you in silence in some cafe, and we exchanged nothing but glances. Even then, even in those moments, my soul would have leaned closer. I would have found you in the smell of rain, or the way someone laughed just like you. I would have heard your voice in foreign songs, felt your touch in the breeze that brushed my cheek. I would have painted your face on every sunset, named every star after the spaces in your smile. And if the world had stolen you from me, if fate had rewritten our story, if time had scattered us like autumn leaves, I would still gather every moment we had and wear it like armor, holding your memory like a sword against forgetting. I was always going to love you, even on the days when love felt like a question with no answer, even when anger built walls between us, even when silence pressed its cold hands on our lips. My love would not shrink. It would wait. It would sit at the edge of our pain and whisper, I am still here. I would have loved you in wars, in famines, in centuries long gone. If I had been born with ink-stained fingers in ancient lands, I would have carved your name into stone, built temples in your honor, sung your praises to the wind. In every version of me, soldier, sailor, poet, peasant, I would have found a way to hold you, to find you, even just once, even just for a moment. I was always going to love you. In the ordinary mornings when the coffee tasted bitter, in the rainy walks when you held my hand, in the soft hum of streetlights, in the way your laughter healed every broken part of me. Without trying, love was not something I gave you, it was something you unlocked. A door within me I hadn't dared to open, and there you were, already inside, already waiting, even if you had turned away, even if your heart had chosen another. Even then, I would not have loved you less. It wasn't a matter of deserving or earning. It was simply truth, like gravity, like time, like breath. I was always going to love you, with the quiet certainty of seasons, with the stubborn devotion of waves, with the patience of trees that stand through storms, because they know spring will come. And you were my spring. You turned every sorrow into blossom, made gardens grow in the darkest parts of me. You sang to my shadows, and they danced. Even in our silences, I loved you. When words failed, when fear crept in like frost, still, I loved you. When we hurt each other in clumsy ways, when we doubted, When we drifted, still, I chose you. And in 1,000 lives, where we may have missed each other, I believe the stars would have cried, because something ancient in the universe knows that I was always going to love you. And without that love, something would be missing. I loved you in the way leaves love light, even knowing they must fall. I loved you in the way fire loves the night, fierce and bright, even if it burns. And if all I ever had was the echo of your name, I would have loved that too. I was always going to love you, through every version of us, the ones that danced in joy, the ones that wept in silence, the ones that grew distant and still carried the ache. I was always going to carry you, even if only in the quiet of my heart. You were the constant in all my rewrites, the ending that never changed. And though the world may not understand how love can live even after goodbye, I know that I will love you until the stars forget to shine. And if this life fades, and I return to dust and breathless dreams, still, I will look for you, beyond skies, beyond time, in the hush between lives, where the soul remembers what the heart cannot speak. Because I was always going to love you, and nothing, not distance, not silence, not even death, can unwrite that truth. And if you came back to me in a different form, with different eyes, a voice I no longer recognized, still, I would know you, not by your face, but by the way my soul would sigh, in peace, by the quiet thunder in my chest, that only you can cause, by the stillness that falls inside me, like a hush before a miracle. I would know you, even if your name had changed, even if this world had rewritten our pages with different ink, because love like this doesn't ask for introductions. It remembers. You are the map I never needed to read, the road I walked in dreams, before I learned how to walk in reality. And when we finally met, wasn't it déjà vu? Wasn't it like turning a corner and finding something that had always belonged? I was always going to love you, even if you had arrived later, even if life delayed you. I would have waited, not with impatience, but with faith, the kind of faith that stands in the rain, because it knows the sun remembers. I would have stood in every storm, just to catch the scent of you in the wind. I would have whispered your name into the ocean, and listened to the waves bring it back to me. I would have planted flowers in the soil of time, just so you'd walk by and smell something familiar. Because love like this isn't a choice. It's a vow the stars made when they were first born. It's written not just in hearts, but in constellations, in everything that burns and breathes. Even if we were broken, even if we were scattered, like mirrors dropped in 1,000 pieces, I would have gathered every shard, bleeding if I had to, just to see one reflection of us whole again. And maybe we weren't always kind. Maybe there were nights when we turned away instead of leaning in. But even in that pain, there was love. Because it hurt, because it mattered, because your absence was louder than any goodbye.